Have you ever wondered how a single moment can define not just a career, but an entire sporting tradition? Today we're going to relive one of the most electrifying stories in college football, a moment that stopped time and forever etched the name of a young kicker into the glorious history of Alabama Crimson Tide. If you're passionate about sports and inspiring stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any incredible content like this. It was 1985, a year that would forever mark not only American history, but also the soul of college football. While the country witnessed historic moments like the meeting between Reagan and Gorbachev in Geneva, breaking decades of Cold War tension, and got emotional with Back to the Future on the big screen, making Marty McFly and the DeLorean part of American culture, a young man from Red Bay, Alabama, was preparing to write his own chapter in history. Van Lee Tiffin wasn't just another player. Born in Tupelo, Mississippi, but raised on the red dirt of Red Bay, Alabama, this small-town kid grew up kicking balls on dusty fields, developing an accuracy that caught attention from an early age. In high school, every kick he made caused people to stop and watch. There was something special about that leg, something that would destine him for much more than the rural fields of Alabama. When Van arrived in Tuscaloosa in 1983, immediately taking over the role of starting place kicker for the Crimson Tide, few imagined the impact he would have. Ray Perkins was in his first season as head coach, and the team managed a solid campaign with 8 wins and 4 losses, crowned by a 28-7 victory over SMU in the Sun Bowl. Van was simply perfect on extra points, hitting all 40 he attempted, plus converting 14 of 25 field goal attempts, totaling 82 points in his freshman season. For a kid from the countryside, it was a promising start, but nobody yet knew how special he would become. The year 1984 brought unexpected storms to Tuscaloosa. For the first time since 1957, Alabama faced a losing season, with only 5 wins against 6 losses. Each defeat to Vanderbilt, Georgia, and LSU cut deep into the souls of the fans. This was a program built on victories, tradition, and excellence. But that fall, it seemed like the shine had faded. The newspapers talked about crisis, fans shook their heads in the stands, and the Crimson Tide seemed to be at low ebb. Even amid the chaos, Van Tiffin continued doing his job with surgical precision. He converted 23 of 23 extra points and 15 of 20 field goals, accumulating 68 points for the season. While everything crumbled around him, he remained a reliable constant, a solid rock in the midst of the storm. It was the perfect preparation for what was to come. Then came 1985, and from the very first snap of the season, there was something different in the Tuscaloosa air. You could feel the electricity, the hunger for redemption that pulsed through every player, every fan, every person connected to the Alabama program. The ghost of 1984 still haunted the corridors, but those first victories reignited the flame that had almost been extinguished. Coach Ray Perkins was expecting big things in his 3rd season, and the team was responding with the kind of football that reminded everyone why Alabama was synonymous with excellence. It was during this magical season that Van Tiffin set a new school record with a 57-yard field goal that flew straight through the uprights, demonstrating that his leg had not only precision, but also extraordinary power. The announcer could barely contain his emotion. 57 yards out, he's got it. He's got some leg, and he's got it. That's his best, man. Tiffin drills this ball. When he hit it, I think he knew he had it. 57 yards away, and this ball went straight. We understand, Paul, that is a school record. The Crimson Tide rolled into that season hungry for redemption, and they kept pushing, fighting their way all the way to the big one, the Iron Bowl. This wasn't just any game. This was the rivalry that defined Alabama football, the annual battle against Auburn that meant everything to everyone who bled crimson and white. Auburn came in with a record of 8-2, while the Crimson Tide entered the game at 7-1, setting up what would become one of the most unforgettable Iron Bowl matchups in history. The stakes couldn't have been higher, with Auburn riding high behind the phenomenal play of their superstar running back Bo Jackson, who was having a Heisman Trophy caliber season that would eventually earn him college football's most prestigious individual award. Jackson had rushed for 1,786 yards and 17 touchdowns that season, making him one of the most feared offensive weapons in all of college football. The historical context of this rivalry made the game even more meaningful. From 1973 to 81, the Crimson Tide beat Auburn 9 straight times. But in 82, second-year coach Pat Dye and running back Bo Jackson, then a freshman, led the Tigers to a 23-22 victory in the last regular season game in the long career of legendary Alabama coach Bear Bryant. That 1982 loss had been particularly painful for Alabama fans, coming in Bear Bryant's final season before his retirement and eventual passing. Now, 3 years later, the two programs were set to clash again with everything on the line. Legion Field in Birmingham was electric that November day, packed with passionate fans from both sides who understood the magnitude of what they were witnessing. The game lived up to every expectation, featuring the kind of back-and-forth action that makes college football legendary. The Crimson Tide of third-year coach Ray Perkins took a 16-10 lead into halftime thanks to the foot of Van Tiffen, who kicked 3 first-half field goals. From the opening drive, it was clear that Alabama was ready to make a statement. Mike Shula guided the team on a 94-yard drive in 13 plays, and Craig Turner scored a touchdown. After the Tide's defense forced a fumble of Auburn's Pat Washington and recovered it, Van Tiffen made a 26-yard field goal, pushing Alabama's lead to 10-0 in the first quarter. But Auburn, led by the incomparable Bo Jackson, was not going to go quietly into the night. The Tigers fought back with the kind of determination that makes the Iron Bowl special, trading scores and momentum swings throughout the afternoon. Jackson, who ran 17 times for 114 yards during this Iron Bowl, continued marching his team downfield, showing why he was considered one of the greatest athletes in college football history. The game featured incredible individual performances on both sides, with Alabama quarterback Mike Shula, son of future NFL coach Don Shula, matching Bo Jackson play for play in what would become a quarterback versus running back showdown for the ages. As the fourth quarter unfolded, the tension in Legion Field reached a fever pitch. After 4 lead changes in the final period, it became clear that this Iron Bowl would be decided in the most dramatic fashion possible. With time running down and the score tied, both teams knew that the next score would likely determine the winner. Auburn had taken the lead late in the game, putting Alabama's season and Ray Perkins' momentum-building third year in jeopardy. The Crimson Tide faithful held their breath as their team prepared for what could be their final possession. But sometimes destiny has a way of writing the most incredible stories. With seconds remaining on the clock, Alabama found themselves in field goal range, and all eyes turned to the smallest player on the field, the 5 feet 10 inches, 163-pound kicker from Red Bay, who had been quietly having an exceptional season. Van Tiffen had already connected on 3 field goals earlier in the game, keeping Alabama in contention when the offense struggled to find the end zone. Now, with everything on the line, the hopes and dreams of an entire fan base rested on his right leg. The distance was daunting, 52 yards, the same distance that had haunted so many kickers before him. The kicking team scrambled to get onto the field, not knowing that the clock was not running, adding to the chaos and pressure of the moment. Legion Field fell silent as Van lined up for the most important kick of his young life. The snap was perfect, the hold was clean, and as Van's foot met the leather, Tiffen, cool as the proverbial cucumber, nailed a 52-yard field goal as time expired to give the Crimson Tide the 25-23 win. The radio call of that moment has become legendary in Alabama football lore. There is the snap, the kick. It is in the air. It has distance. It's good. It's good. It's good. Alabama has beaten Auburn. Van Tiffen has kicked a 52-yard field goal as time expired. The emotion in the announcer's voice captured what every Alabama fan was feeling in that magical moment. Pure, unbridled joy and disbelief that they had just witnessed something truly special. The kick has become part of Alabama lore, known mainly as the kick, and is depicted in Daniel Moore's painting by the same name. It made the 5 feet 10 inches, 163-pound kicker one of the most unlikely heroes in the hard-nosed history of Crimson Tide football. This wasn't just a game winner. It was a moment that transcended sports and became part of the cultural fabric of Alabama football. Van Tiffin had accomplished something that would be talked about for generations, a kick that would inspire countless young athletes and remind everyone that in sports, as in life, heroes come in all shapes and sizes. The victory was particularly sweet for Coach Ray Perkins and the Alabama program. Following a victory in 1984, Alabama was able to win a second straight Iron Bowl over Auburn in 1985. The accomplishment gave the Tide its fifth win over a top 25 team, and Perkins finished the season at 9-1. It represented a complete turnaround from the dark days of 1984 and proof that Alabama football was back where it belonged, competing at the highest level and winning the games that mattered most. The legacy of the kick extends far beyond just that single moment in 1985. It became a symbol of perseverance, clutch performance under pressure, and a magic that makes college football unlike any other sport. Van Tiffin would go on to have more success, being named a first-team All-American by Scripps in 1986, but nothing would ever match the pure drama and significance of that November afternoon in Birmingham. For Alabama fans, the kick represents everything they love about their program. The ability to rise to the occasion when it matters most, the tradition of finding heroes in unexpected places, and a never-say-die attitude that has defined Crimson Tide football for decades. It's a reminder that in the Iron Bowl, anything can happen, and that's what makes this rivalry one of the greatest in all of sports. If you're loving this incredible story of Alabama football history and want to see more legendary moments like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss the amazing content we have coming up about the greatest moments in Crimson Tide history, because stories like Van Tiffin's The Kick are what make Alabama football truly special.